What's going on, guys? Ronnie here with the Local Losers. Today, we're working on the BRZ. Today, we're working on and talking about this guy. This is my 2013 Subaru BRZ. The car has, like, you were right about the seat. It is messed up. The car has just shy of 200,000 miles on it, and it was perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with it. I daily drove it. It had a code, a P0018, I think, which was like a cam crank correlation code. That code's known for killing motors, and that's what happened. We took it drifting. I would say go watch the last video, but actually there's literally no footage of the car on track. But here's the FA20. It's out. It's junk. The trans is out. It's good, but it's sold. The front end's been sold. We're like parting out the car, but we're not, because we have all this right here, which I'm very excited about. This is a 3UZ, so it is a 4.3 liter 1UZ based engine. It's coil on plug. It's got variable valve timing. It's got more displacement than 1UZ, and it has variable intake runner length. But it still has a forged bottom end from the factory, forged crank, forged rods, aluminum cast pistons. And it's a powerhouse. We have a 1UZ that we're using for parts because we have to kind of like merge these two motors together to get everything to work in the BRZ. But this motor, the 1UZ, great motor, people love them, super reliable, all that kind of good stuff. But they have one fatal flaw, in my opinion. They don't make very good horsepower and torque numbers. They make 250 basically. This guy, which is a big reason, I wouldn't even necessarily say a big reason why we went with this, but it definitely a determining factor. This makes basically 300 horsepower and 330 foot-pounds of torque. In stock form, we're gonna put it on a Haltech, and hopefully we can bump those numbers up a little. I know we won't get a whole lot more out of it, but it'll be tuned for 91. I don't know if these are tuned for 91 from the factory, if they're tuned for 87. But yeah, so we should be able to get a little more out of it. So here's the thing. We have a CD09. It's actually a CDOA from a 2007 350Z. We have the lower and upper oil pans and the pickup tube from the 1UZ and the oil filter bracket thing. And then we have a Collins 1UZ 2 CD adapter kit. All of this so far has been $1,200. We're doing, Carissa wants to call it a budget build, but the thing is like, I know people, I'm a wheeler dealer, and like the transmission was free, the 1UZ was free, that was $500 off Facebook, and then this was $700. Normally this is 15, those usually sell for around 1,000, and then you pay another 1,000 for a 1UZ, and then you'd pay, you know, 1,200 plus for a CDOA. But we've gotten away for $1,200 for everything. So basically we paid for the transmission, everything else was free. Collins is making a 1UZ / 3UZ to Subaru AZ5. So anyways, Collins is working on that adapter kit. I assume it's going to come with drive shaft, transmission mount, motor mounts, all that good stuff, because this is absurd, completely ridiculous. But maybe it's Subaru and they're all-wheel drive ways. When you get in here, this is the front of the bell housing on the Subaru. So there's all this room. We got to push that thing back because our V8 is so much longer. To get it to stop here-ish, we really got to shove this guy back. And we're trying to run the stock cooling system. We're going to buy an upgraded radiator, but it needs to fit in the same area. So what we're doing today, what our plan is, we won't be getting the motor in the car. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be chopping the CD transmission. We're going to be getting these oil pans swapped, and hopefully we'll have these two married together by the end of the day. That's our plan. That's our hope. If we can do that, that'll be a good day. We won't be able to test the clutch. That's one thing. I think you're supposed to have some, I I can't think of what they're called, but spacers that go in there to make it all work correctly. If we do, this thing's gonna be coming in and out. It's gonna be a pain in the butt, but not a big deal. Get this thing cut, get this thing mounted, get this stuff fixed and put onto there. And that's where we're at. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're gonna start by taking off this oil filter housing thingy. I don't really know what it's called. The reason Carissa asked, it just won't fit, I don't think, going to this one. This one goes backwards like this. It might not even fit, actually, looking at it. I don't know how it goes. Once we get all this off, we'll be able to see what's going on here. But the reason we're swapping it out, this comes forward, and I just don't think we have the room on the car for that. So we're gonna take it off. We're gonna see if we can swap it so it can go the other direction, and hopefully it will. And if it does, that should give us much more room, because then it'll be coming rearward instead of forward. All right, we have both pans off. We've worked on getting the front sump clean. We had to take these studs out. So if you guys don't know, the double nut trick, you put one nut on, and then you put a second nut on, and then you tighten them into each other, and then you work the bottom nut, and you can get a stud out that way. I actually went and bought inverted Torx, because these are put in with inverted Torx, but they were too tight. They had blue Loctite on them. I couldn't get them open. Now, we are going to put some black RTV on our pan here. Clean it out a little. It's got some yuckies. You need to tell me when you turn it off. Don't just turn it off. Need to make sure that your mating surfaces are nice and clean. They don't have any oil on them. You're just gonna RTV these guys up. That's weird. All right, so it's been basically a week since that last clip. I don't know if that clip was on Saturday or Sunday, but today's Sunday. I've been doing a lot, but I've been trying not to do anything important. That way all this works, but I'm just trying to make it easier for us. So I'm gonna start off with the motors in the car. Transmission's not, you can still see it over there. Burp, burp, transmission. But the motor's in there. I got motor mounts made. I removed a bunch of stuff. I shortened the filler neck here for the oil. It was way tall. It was like way up here. So I have been doing things, but the whole point of this video is to install this Collins adapter kit. And I found out we're missing a part, so I do have to order that. So this won't be like, oh, it's finished, it's in. And I think we need to widen the tunnel on the car a little, like where the current transmission would mount. I think it's too narrow. That transmission is real narrow. This one's kind of fat. So anyways, now that all that's out of the way, let's start cutting this thing up. Oh, and I got the pan swapped on this. I got new motor mounts, and the factory mount is reversed. So took them off one side, flipped them around, put them on the other side. So the left is on the right, right's on the left. If you guys are kind of following along at home, And let's go ahead and start cutting this thing. Ah! Oh, that thing's heavy. All right, so they tell you to cut just behind this line, but everybody says to cut in front of it for a cleaner look. This looks gross regardless. So anyways, we're gonna give it a cut. See how this grinder does, I just bought it. All right, the bell housing's off. What we're gonna do now is use our flap disc. We're just gonna clean up this surface a little bit, round it off. So when you're all done, you'll have this giant mess. I'm gonna use this vacuum. This will be linked in the description. Pretty nice vacuum, 5 horsepower. So I'm gonna get this cleaned up, and then we'll start taking that face off and getting the adapter plate on and the bell housing. All right, I got carried away as usual, and the bell housing's on. We're missing a couple bolts, so we do have to run to the hardware store. And then when we get back, we're gonna make... All right, so before I was so rudely interrupted by the camera, I was saying that we were gonna go get some hardware, and we did that. We have hardware now, and we're good to go. Yeah, so I want to talk about this Collins kit. I bought this used, so we're gonna, let everybody know that this was a used kit. I didn't buy this brand new from him. This flywheel is humongozoid. It's aluminum, and what you're gonna do is, so when you take your flex plate off, your 3UZ or your 1UZ, there's a thick spacer, the flex plate, a thin spacer on top. You're gonna lose the flex plate, lose the thin spacer, we're gonna keep the thick one on there, put that on, make sure you Loctite these. These aren't the bolts that he provides. I went and bought these. Then we got over here the adapter plate, which is this big hunk of aluminum here. Make sure it's not touching. Mine's touching right here, so we need to take it off. File that down some more. And that's why you're supposed to cut on the back side. It gives you enough clearance. The front side definitely doesn't. I had to trim some here as well. So apparently we need to take it back off, trim over there, and it should be good. But we're not gonna do that today. That'll be in a separate video. He provides you with the hardware that goes here. I assume you use your stock bolts that went into your transmission here. I didn't have those. I didn't have a stock transmission, so I had to buy those bolts. And then same thing here, you would use your stock bell housing bolts. Again, I didn't have those. I had to buy some. So it's been an expensive process with bolts. I saved money on the adapter kit. The clutch is in good shape, like everything's in good shape, but it's missing the pilot bushing adapter. So I got to order one of those. It was missing a bunch of hardware and stuff, so I had to go buy all that. And so it's been a little bit expensive, but overall, it's been fine. Like, I'm not complaining at all. But where we're at, we have 2 more bolts we got to put in here. And then this is really cool. So I'm going to show you guys here in a second when we get this transmission bolted on here. But I have a hack for transmission mounts for these if you're going to build your own transmission crossmember. So let's go ahead and get this transmission on here, bolted on, and then I'll show you guys something cool. All right, this is not gonna be easy, especially doing this by myself. So, lower this guy. Whoops, too much, went the wrong direction. Okay, so right there. Okay. Should have checked to see what size these are. One second. These are 19s. We need to use the extension. Oh, that one's not a 19? That's weird. Huh, yeah. These have two different size heads. That's shitty. Ow. Oops. Looks pretty good. Dang, those might be too long. I even thought I intentionally measured these. Yeah, a wee bit long. Huh, I'm a terrible measurer. If you didn't notice. See some. These are the same length. Okay, give me 1 second. We're gonna chop a bunch of these down. All right, we now have the car on the lift. We gotta get this drive shaft out. Then we'll do our first major test fit to see if this is in the way, which I'm sure it is. It's tiny compared to that giant thing. So we'll probably end up having to cut those out. But step one, get the drive shaft out. Oh, you know what? We could measure. That's a good call, because now that we have motor mounts that work, we could measure from our motor mount back to here and see where we land on the transmission. So we'll probably do that, but we still got to get the drive shaft out. Yep, go ahead. Start getting it in there. Let me jack it up. Hold on. Go up. This is a pain in the butt. Okay. The hoist only has turnable tires on the back of it. So it makes life kind of hard. Hold on, I'm not center. And it looks like we're going to jack the car up. Looks better center-wise. Okay. Can continue to go in. Okay. Uppity-duppity. Okay. We're gonna go in until that ratchet strap touches, basically. and then we're going to take that ratchet strap off. I need to go down, yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and undo that ratchet strap. It's going to make a mess. Okay. Oh. Wow. Okay, I'll go up. This is how it goes. Welcome to your first motor install.
I helped with that one.
Did you?
Yeah, and Jake helped with that.
That was pretty funny. Okay, what are we hitting on? That spot back there is what it looks like. Yep. So, okay. The narrow spot? Yeah. Yep. So, what we're gonna do is do this. Okay, up, 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 up. Up, up, up. Leaking tranny fluid all over the place. Okay. Dang, I need it to go back just a little more. Now we need the back to come up. We need a jack. All right. We've been out here for a little bit trying to get this thing in here. We cut these out. We need to do more cutting. That's not enough. And we have other things to do. It's Mother's Day, so we're gonna go do Mother's Day things. Somebody's blowing me up. But anyways, tried to get this in there. Doesn't quite fit. The transmission is just too wide at this point. So we'll probably like cut this off, cut that off. We got to cut a thing off over here. We'll make the tranny shrink in size a little bit. Then we're going to get in there and clearance the body of the car a little bit. And fingers crossed, it's so close to fitting. But fingers crossed it fits up in there. We are going to have to modify the shifter and do some other things. But if we can just get it stinking in there, we can deal with the rest of the stuff after. So yeah. That's where we're at. Things are looking good, and it's really close to getting in there. So stay tuned for the next video. That video, hopefully this thing will be getting put in there. We'll also be modifying the shifter to make it work in this car. Maybe we'll build a transmission mount. I feel like I'm getting a little ambitious with all three of those. But yeah, things are good. It's looking good. This is gonna fit. Like, if it weren't for the transmission, it would almost be like this 3UZ is meant to go into this car. It's pretty wild. So anyways, we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for hanging out.